Congratulations, Joe Schoen. How are you today, buddy? What's happening?
I'm great. I'm glad I survived the press conference. And to let your last caller know, the first thing I did was thank John Mara and the Mara family.
Yeah.
So let them know.
I know that's what you
known.
said. I didn't want to respond to it.
We had your back, Joe.
I swore I heard you say that. Yeah. And so, Joe, first of all, because BT said congratulations. Welcome to the Giants family. We're excited to have you. Some new blood and a new way of thinking. Hopefully the culture gets right. The first thing I got to ask you, I mean, you ended your press conference by saying, I graduated on Saturday and I was working with the Carolina Panthers on Sunday, and here you are now. I guess it's 15 or 16 years later. You're the general manager of the New York Football Giants, which has such a storied history. How are you feeling? Like, are you nervous? You're excited? What is the emotion that took over you as you took that press conference today?
Yeah, I was probably more worried about that than I am the actual job responsibilities, just, the New York media. But it hasn't quite hit me. Every now and then I'll send an email and it'll say, the general manager will be on my signature, and I look at it and I just kind of, shake my head. But we've been moving so fast and furious here between the head coaching search, me trying to get to know everybody in the football operation. Again, the scouts are at all-star games. We got free agency coming up. So just trying to figure out the current process they have, anything I want to tweak, to make sure I'm getting what I need, and then we got draft meetings, a couple of weeks from now. So just making sure the scouts know what's expected. So it's been fast and furious. This is all I know. This is all I've done. So I really don't know any different in terms of, the way we're going to go through the calendar and the process. But yeah, it hasn't quite hit me yet that I'm a general manager for the New York Giants.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
It'll hit you when you get that first paycheck, bud.
yeah, I'm waiting for that. That's what everybody says.
Exactly right. Hey, Joe, you mentioned the scouting, and, not to jump right into it, but I will jump right into it. The scouting department felt like it needed to be fixed, reorganized, or whatever word you want to use, whether it's some misses on the draft or whatever it may have been. Is this something that you're going to put some significant thought into or make changes with? Talk about the scouting department, because obviously that's the core of everything, as you know.
Yeah, and I mentioned a little bit in my press conference, I've been in those chairs before when there's changes, between head coaches and general managers, and you're sitting there with the uncertainty, but you did the work all fall. And the good thing is they get a chance to prove themselves, between now and the draft. So again, I'm trying to feel out their process. I'm going to implement, the process that I believe in. And again, it's ultimately, the Southeast scout that does, from North Carolina to Florida isn't making the decision. So again, it comes back to the decision makers. We're going to have a process in place in terms of watching the players, knowing who they are as people. Are they hard workers? Are they smart? Are they going to do things the way we want them to do? And the more talented players you get that have high character, I think the better chance you're going to have to succeed. So I'm going to evaluate the staff. I had a good Zoom with them the other day. They're excited. Again, I told them exactly what I'm looking for from a character standpoint. And, I'm looking forward to having meetings with them in February.
So we're talking to Joe Schoen, who is the new general manager for the New York Giants. He's with us here on WFAN, Tiki and Tierney. So, Joe, we were listening to you before you came on with us, and we were jotting some things down. And one of the things Tiki and I circled back to, and I know some of the fans did as well, but I want to ask you about, you used the term collaborative effort in terms of when you were asked about having full autonomy for the head coaching hire. Listen, if you say I want to hire some bozo off the Garden State Parkway, I understand that Mara and Tish will not allow you to do that. But can you envision under any circumstance you want somebody and they want somebody else and you don't get the guy that you actually want as your first choice?
No, I don't see that happening. We've had really good conversations on, the candidates that we've had through, in terms of in-person interviews, and we got 3 more. And, we kind of have a debrief at the end of the day. We kind of give our thoughts on, what we thought throughout the interview, whether it was practice schedules, the attacking the sports performance and strength. And, if we have difference of opinions, we're going to go back and do more work. We're going to continue to make phone calls to people around the league, on the different candidates. And, I think ultimately, we'll be, on the same page when we make the hire, but, it's going to be a collaborative effort. It's not going to be, me pounding the table or John.
No. And by Joe, I'm not implying that.
But what would happen if you did pound the table?
I mean, seriously, like we're kind of kidding, but if you actually did take a real definitive stance on somebody and it was opposite of what ownership believed was the right move, not to be redundant, but do you win that, for lack of a better term, battle? Do you win that one?
Yeah, that would probably stink if that happened, but they own the team.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
It would stink. And I would, again, I think part of it is being able to negotiate. So if you really want something, come with the facts, build the story how you want it to be, and try to get to your end game.
Okay. So, the term due diligence, and I'm sure you'll get to know the other GMs in town. You might even know some of them, but Brian Cashman uses that term a lot. Due diligence, and it certainly makes a ton of sense. You kick all the tires. One tire that is at least loose for now is Sean Payton. I know that John Mara was asked about Deshaun Watson. He touched on that. I won't even get into that with you. But a cursory call, an exploratory call, Sean Payton, based on what happened, is that somebody you at least call right now, Joe?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that because I was fast and furious yesterday. I had no idea he had resigned. So I found out about 10 o'clock last night because I've been running around with my head chopped off. What I read and what I watched said he's going to take the year off, and he's currently under contract to the New Orleans Saints. So, there'd have to be some sort of draft compensation. And, right now we like the candidates we have and the process we have in place. So, again, that's something we haven't explored.
Yeah. But isn't that something that, why not explore it? And then here, I am going to take a year off. I am going to chill. And by the way, Joe, he's got 3 years to go on his contract. I'm not even saying that this is necessarily a plausible situation, but just to dot the I's, make the call and move on. It can't hurt making the call.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I don't disagree with you. What I was told from people in the league is he's going to sit out a year.
Yeah.
So, again, that's secondhand, somebody that talked to somebody in an organization. So there were texts exchanged, not with the New Orleans, but like, wow, what happened? What happened? And people in the know, said he's going to take a year off.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same as with players, but that's not tampering, is it? Right? You can't hey, Sean, you want to think about this? That'd be tampering, right? Or is it?
Yeah, he's under contract with the New Orleans.
So we won't even put you in that position. All right, there's a couple of
we just did, I think.
I know we did, but I'm
no. Like I said,
I'm dismissing it, Joe. Forget my partner. Forget my partner.
Your partner has good questions. Don't forget your partner.
Don't put him in a position to get in trouble on the first day on the job.
He knows the deal.
Joe, there's a you kept using the word resources, and the Giants are going to give you the resources. Obviously, I think that entails fixing the salary cap, which we know is in dire straits a little bit with the New York Giants. But what exactly are the resources? Is that in staff? Is that in new technologies? Like, what exactly were you alluding to?
Yeah, new technology is definitely one of them. Upgrading the draft room. We still got the magnets. They probably had forever. Making it. Transforming it to digital. Not having a TV in the draft room, and just kind of continue to evolve and be progressive in everything we do.
Yeah.
And hey, if the strength staff or the training staff thinks we need to upgrade, we need to blow a wall out and build a new area or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
If we can prove how it's going to help us win, we're going to get the resources. And if it's staffing and if it's to get the best assistant head coach or the best offensive coordinator, whoever it is, we're going to be the resources to go get whatever we need and do whatever we need possible, to build a winning football team.
Yeah, I know that exactly because when I first came to the Giants, it was the old Giant Stadium. And the training room was just disgusting. And a couple years later, they blew it up, and then it's like, hey, we got a cold tub. Hey, we got
we have tape. We have tape.
Exam rooms, etc. So I know what you mean by that. The other thing that I think is so important for you as you identify a head coach, the candidates, and their staff is the culture that you're going to bring here. As you think about what kind of culture you would like to have for this Giants team, how do you envision it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Again, we always try to eliminate the margin for error. And, I just said this to, a couple people outside that I think when you're bringing players in, a lot of times you miss on the person more than you miss on the talent. Because as a group, the coaches are going to watch the film of the college guys or free agents that we're going to bring in. The scouts are going to look at them. We'll watch them as a staff. So to me, to develop that culture, you got to have the right guys in the locker room. And again, to me, it's guys that are smart. They got versatility. They're tough. They're dependable. You can count on them not to jump off sides on 3rd and 1 or whatever the scenario, may be when adversity strikes. So to me, those are the type of guys we're looking for that are going to be smart, tough, dependable, do the right things. And the more guys like that you get in the locker room when adversity strikes or things go wrong, they can keep the ship going in the right direction. And, that's what we're going to look for. Again, I'm not going to have a lot of tolerance for players that may have, whether it's a checkered past or not doing the right thing just because, we want to send a message to the locker room. Hey, this is what we're going to be about, especially with the amount of draft capital we'll have. And these are the guys that we're going to procure, to help set the foundation, as we move forward and build this thing.
Joe, what is your impression of Giant fans?
Very passionate fan base. Again, I had a long talk with Coach Parcells, and, these guys, they love their football, the history of the franchise, very passionate. Again, obviously they can be tough. Because, there hasn't been the success that they expect, and they haven't met the standard, the last few years. And I understand that with any fan base. So, we're going to try to get that turned around.
So we're talking to Joe Schoen, the new GM for the Giants. We talked about the head coach and, maybe by the weekend. By the way, is that a fair timeline? Maybe by Saturday we have the head coach. Does that seem somewhat doable?
That could be. We have 3 more guys coming in.
Yeah.
Leslie Frazier's on Friday. He's the last of the group, and we got some ancillary names that we may consider if we want to extend the search. But if we find our guy this week, then it could be this weekend.
Okay, so using the term collab, I want to get back to this without belaboring the head coach, but I want to get into 2 names that are on the tip of every Giants fan's tongue and ours as well. The quarterback and the young running back who was taken 2nd overall and just burst on the scene and has had some injuries. Collaborative effort for the head coach. Get that. When you interviewed and because they're talking to you and interviewing you, and you're interviewing them as well because you're a highly sought after commodity. Did you get the sense, Joe, because these 2 decisions very well might shape the direction of the Giants for the better part of a decade, that you will have the latitude to do what is required with the quarterback and the running back? And I'm not going to ask you to commit right now. I would never put you in that spot. You got to see him get healthy. I get that. But if you ever had to move on or make a tough decision, do you have assurance from ownership that they would let you do that with Jones and or Barkley?
Yes, we didn't get into those 2 players specifically in terms of, whether I would move on from them or not. But yes, I have the autonomy to make those roster decisions. And as long as myself and the head coach are on board with the direction we're heading, John Mara and Steve Tisch, they'll support that. So, and those 2 players, again, listen, I don't think Daniel Jones has been given the best opportunity to succeed. Just, he's going to be on his 3rd head coach. There's been, turnover at the offensive coordinator position. The offensive line, there's been some injuries there. And, the offensive line, I think will, give us a chance to really see what we have in Daniel Jones. And it also helps Saquon Barkley. So in order for both those players, to put their best foot forward, we're going to have to upgrade the offensive line. Yeah,
I got one quick one for you, and then I want to ask you about your daughters. The Giants have had a lot of success, and the pressure is real, obviously, here as you felt it. As you think about the head coach, because that's going to determine, how you address that pressure and address the expectations. What are the most important things you're looking for in your next head coach? One is obviously familiarity, which I know has been a talking point that Brandon Beane referenced and you did as well. What are the couple of really top things that you're looking for the next head coach?
Yeah, familiarity. Again, I've never worked with Dan Quinn. I've never worked with Brian Flores. I've worked with Leslie and Brian Daboll. I haven't worked with Patrick Graham either. So, but somebody I can work with, that we're aligned in how we want to do things, and we believe in building the team. So that's important. I think putting a staff together is very important. I truly think if you have a good staff, you can win 2 or 3 more games a year just based on scheme, having your team ready, game management. When the game's on the line, I truly think a good staff can allow you to do that. Leadership, being able to lead the team. Intelligence, not just X's and O's, but, you got to have a certain level of intelligence. I think emotional intelligence is also important. Don't ride the wave of the NFL season. There's going to be peaks and valleys, and, the entire organization is going to be looking at you when you come in the facility on Monday. You got to be able to steady the ship. And, again, those are the qualities I'm looking for, mainly, again, somebody that's respectful, going to treat everybody in the building, treat them well. And then also, being open-minded. Are you going to listen to Ronnie Barnes and the guys downstairs? Are you going to listen to the strength coach? Are you going to listen to the sports performance when they tell you we need to pull back and don't keep pushing? And, again, some of the, the issues around here in the past have been injuries, and, we need to do a deep dive on that and make sure we're doing everything we can so these players can put their best foot forward on Sundays. Yeah, no, that was great. Ronnie Barnes, one of my favorite people in the organization, Kennelly and Byron as well. So they got to do right by them. They keep you on the field. Your kids,
Are they loving this? Your wife, they loving this? I mean, it's obviously something that you probably have always dreamt of achieving, this stature as a general manager. But here in New York with the New York Giants, they got to be really excited for you.
Yeah, they are. You know, my daughter's 15, my son's 12, and then I got a 3-year-old daughter as well. So
wow.
The older ones are super excited. They kind of understand the magnitude of what's going on. You know, the 3-year-old, she's all over the place. She's not really into it. But yeah, my daughter especially, you know, it's New York City. You know, she's a sophomore in high school. So yeah, she's all over. My son, as long as there's a ball and some guys to play football with or basketball with or baseball, you know, just he's fine. He was just in there throwing the football in the cafeteria with Jesse, and you know, we thought he was going to throw it through the water cooler. So hopefully, he hasn't broke anything.
Nice. When he gets in school, he's going to be the man. Yeah, my dad's a general manager.
That's right. That's right.
What are you talking about?
That can be good or bad.
Yeah, it goes both ways in this town there, Joe. And by the way, maybe we can convert you 3-year-old into a Jets fan.
Oh,
it's not too late.
Stop. Turn off his mic.
I'm teasing,
Joe,
man.
great to meet you. I look forward to meet you in person at some point down the line and being on with us again. Thank you, Joe. Congrats again.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Look forward to meeting you too.
Absolutely. Really down to earth, and his ascent well chronicled. He scraped his way here. Seems like a really even keeled, just very positive, you know, humble, good person. Yeah. You know, and now you just have to do the job, and we're all rooting for him.
Yeah.